How rich has Vladimir Putin got as president of Russia? Today's video deeply delves into one of the most important politicians of this era, a former intelligence officer and a figure who has managed to hold the presidency of the biggest nation in the world for more than 20 years. This is Vladimir Putin. Have you ever wondered how wealthy Vladimir Putin is? The Russian leader is said to possess a presidential palace, as well as multiple homes, villas, opulent planes, fleets of yachts, pricey cars, and high-end watches. For 4 years running, Putin has been ranked as one of the most powerful persons in the world by Forbes magazine. It has been nearly impossible to trace his wealth. According to Forbes magazine, whose core mission includes investigating the personal fortunes of the world's elite, finding out Putin's net worth is, quote-unquote, probably the most elusive riddle in wealth hunting. The nation's president and his enigmatically wealth status are gaining more and more attention. How rich is Russian President Vladimir Putin, and how did Putin amass his elusive net worth? Putin has always intrigued the world with his personality and his past as a KGB officer, and his power and wealth have always been in the spotlight too. In this video, we'll discuss what made him different from his contemporaries in terms of his financial success. We will be looking into the renowned Vladimir Putin's financial capabilities and the methods in which he has amassed a staggering $200 billion in net worth. Stay tuned until the very end to learn the details of how the Russian president's assets increased, about his instrumental upbringing, and about the real extent of his wealth. Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin, a former intelligence officer, presided over Russia from 1999 to 2008 before taking office again in 2012. He spent 16 years working for the KGB as an agent of foreign intelligence, rising to the rank of lieutenant colonel before leaving to start a political career in St. Petersburg in 1991. Putin was the youngest of 3 children born in Leningrad, now St. Petersburg, where his mother worked in a factory and his father was a conscript in the Soviet Navy in the early 1930s. Following his graduation from St. Petersburg State University Law Program in 1975, he joined the KGB. Now, for those who don't know what the KGB is, here's a quick explanation. KGB was the main security agency for the Soviet Union from March 13, 1954 until 3 December 1991 and was responsible for foreign intelligence, domestic counterintelligence, technical intelligence, protection of the political leadership, and the security of the Soviet Union's frontiers. In 1984, Putin was sent to Moscow for additional training at the Yuri Andropov Red Banner Institute. He then used a false identity as a translator to serve in Dresden, East Germany. Putin eventually left the KGB and relocated to Moscow in order to work for President Boris Yeltsin's administration in 1996. Prior to being chosen as prime minister in August 1999, he held the positions of Secretary of Security Council and Director of the Federal Security Service, FSB, for a short time. Following Yeltsin's resignation, Putin took over as president in an acting capacity before winning the general election for his first term less than 4 months later. From 2008 to 2012, under Dmitry Medvedev, Putin once more held the position of prime minister. He won re-election to the presidency in 2012 and quickly rose through the ranks of the Russian federal government, emerging as one of the most well-liked and powerful politicians. Speaking about wealth, Russia frequently uses frontmen, offshore accounts, and shell companies to hold wealth. Therefore, despite numerous journalist efforts over the years, no one has been able to put a precise dollar figure on Putin's wealth. Putin's net worth has, however, been estimated to be at least $200 billion and possibly even more, according to a previous article in Fortune. According to the 2016 Panama Papers, reported by the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists, Putin has virtually no paper trail for his assets, which are primarily property and concealed behind intricate financial schemes run by his confidants. A 100 million mega yacht and a palace on the Black Sea that was allegedly constructed for Putin's personal use are a couple of the famous opulence the president owns. The rumored name of the 100 million mega yacht is Graceful. It was built by the German shipbuilding firm Blom & Voss and officially launched in 2014. Boat International reports that Graceful is a tri-deck superyacht and was created by H2 Yacht Design. The 270-foot-long luxury yacht has a dance floor that can be turned into a 49-foot indoor pool, a spa, a library, and a saloon with a white Steinway piano. The boat can carry up to 12 passengers and 14 crew members. It is also believed that the Graceful was meant to be a timeless yacht. Per the report of the Kremlin, the Russian president receives a salary of about $117,000 USD annually, and that he has recently sold a small piece of land, but he still owns a 77 square meter apartment and a garage. The Kremlin claims that the garage contained 2 Soviet-era 1960 Volga cars and a Lada Vita, a popular four-wheel drive in Russia. Mr. Putin has coincidentally refuted claims that he leads a luxurious life. Instead, he contends that throughout his presidency, he, quote-unquote, toiled like a galley slave from morning until night unsparingly. However, these claims have been disputed by critics. U.S. financier Bill Browder, who was once Russia's biggest foreign investor before turning into one of Putin's most outspoken detractors, testified before the U.S. Senate in 2017 that he believed that Russian president to be one of the world's wealthiest individuals, with assets averaging around $200 billion. The Russian president has been connected to a number of opulent properties. Nevertheless, Putin's palace has drawn the most attention. This enormous Italianate-style home with a price tag of more than $1 billion is located on the Black Sea coast of Russia. The vast estate includes a greenhouse, a helipad, an ice palace, a church, an amphitheater, a gas station, and a quote-unquote wine cave, a tunnel dug into a mountain that contains a room specifically for wine tasting, an indoor pool, a spa, numerous saunas, Turkish baths, a casino, a music lounge, a hookah bar, a theater, a movie theater, and about a dozen guest rooms are just a few of its luxuries. The quote-unquote aquatic disco is a mysterious aspect of the palace that has captured the attention of internet users. The Kremlin has declined to confirm which businessman actually holds the title of the palace, despite multiple claims to ownership. However, Alexei Navalny, the head Russian opposition, insists that it was made for the president's personal use. A few years ago, before his death, Boris Nemtsov, a Putin skeptic who was murdered in 2015, published a report in which he claimed that Russian leader led a wildly extravagant lifestyle in which his adversary was in possession of 15 helicopters, 4 yachts, and a passenger jet with a gold-plated toilet. Mr. Nemtsov's report came to the conclusion that his lifestyle can be compared to that of a Persian Gulf monarch or a flamboyant oligarch. Another claim made in the article is that Mr. Putin is an avid collector of pricey watches, with a collection estimated to be worth $687,000. Even his watches have been given away by Putin in the past. According to reports, the president once owned 5 Blancpain timepieces. Interestingly, while on vacation, he gave one to a Siberian boy and another to a factory worker who requested a keepsake. Apparently, each watch is said to cost $10,000. If Mr. Putin is as wealthy as his critics claim, where is he keeping the money? One might wonder. Why does he refute allegations about his lavish lifestyle? Since Forbes magazine once stated that uncovering private wealth is something we take very seriously, especially in Russia, it would seem that the magazine has already done its best to address this troubling question. By relying on sources and expertise, Forbes has developed some theories over the years about the incredible undiscovered fortune of the Russian leader. One of the theories was that Putin's wealth came from giving his close friends and family government contracts or ownership in businesses in order to help them become wealthy. Theoretically, he receives payoffs in the form of cash or stock in companies in exchange. Andreas Asland, the author of the book Russia's crony capitalism claims Putin has enlisted family, old friends, bodyguards, and other people to hold his money. He calculates that each person is worth between $500 million and $2 billion, setting their total net worth between $100 billion and $130 billion. The bluster model is another hypothesis put forth by Forbes. In conclusion, given the lack of evidence to the contrary, it's possible that Putin has little of his own money and merely likes people to believe he does because it suggests power. On paper, at least, this is unquestionably true. Putin's 2020 income is listed as being around $140,000 in the Kremlin's annual official financial disclosure. His only possessions, according to his claims, are the 3 cars, a trailer, an 800 square foot apartment, a 200 square foot garage, as well as the use of a 1,600 square foot apartment and 2 parking spaces. There is no mention of Putin's sizable collection of high-end watches, his alleged ownership of Putin's palace, which he denies, and a complex that Rottenberg claims to own, or his vast collections of palaces, yachts, and aircrafts that he uses as Russia's undisputed leader. The U.S. financier Bill Browder, whom we previously mentioned, has also provided his perspective to Forbes on the wealth of the Russian leader. He believes Vladimir Putin has amassed a huge fortune by striking a very straightforward but successful deal with Russia's elite. Putin's inner circle is the real reason why nobody can seem to pinpoint Putin's precise worth with any degree of certainty. Over time, estimates of Putin's net worth have only increased. But now that you have access to this fascinating information provided by us, you can decide for yourself just how wealthy Russian President Vladimir Putin really is. Let's sum up by saying that, on paper, 69-year-old Putin is a modest man of modest wealth. As the nation's leader, he reportedly earns a meager $140,000 per year and is the proud owner of an 800 square foot apartment, a trailer, and 3 vehicles. However, experts and those who follow the president closely believe that with assets worth $200 billion, Putin may well be the world's richest person. In light of President Putin's wealth, we want you to think about and evaluate these 2 statements made regarding money by the author Asland. Quote unquote, the richer you get, the more dependent you get. Quote unquote, there are so many things that can happen when you have too much money. What are your thoughts on these? Do share with us.